Hello there! Welcome to my channel. If you don't know who I am the Wandering Lisa, a teacher by trade, but I have taken the year off, kind of year and a half really, of teaching to try to reach 30 countries before I turn 30 years old. As of filming this, I am at country number 23, which was, you already saw it in the title, Rio de Janeiro, Brazil! My husband and I had a little bit of time off from Valentine's Day through President's Day, and so we decided we would go to Rio de Janeiro. So we packed some swimsuits and we painstakingly got our visa and we hopped on a plane and went to Rio. Here are some of our favorite things. 1, Rio's landscape is spectacular. It's not like anything else I've ever seen because they just have these huge, beautiful mountains spread out throughout the city and just like 8 something ridiculous beaches. It's just beaches and lush mountains and just beautiful, beautiful landscape. One of my favorite things that we did was go up Sugarloaf Mountain, which actually is 2 little mountains, and you can just see this panoramic view of all of Rio de Janeiro, including, you can see Christ the Redeemer. We'll talk about that in a second. So you ride up in these cable cars, just like breathtakingly beautiful views. And then you get up there and it's a 360 view of the majesty that is Rio de Janeiro. Absolutely gorgeous. And there were only a few moments when Christ the Redeemer was really shy the entire time that we were there. He was constantly hiding in clouds. So we did get to see him for just a brief little period of time, but he did show up. And since I've talked about him so much, let's take a look at when we went to Christ the Redeemer. Like I said, unfortunately, he was hidden behind clouds pretty much the whole time that we were there. And Christ the Redeemer is obviously something that Rio de Janeiro is known for. So it is always insanely packed. Even if you get there like right when they open at 9 o'clock, it is packed with so many people, just people everywhere. The whole mountain that Christ the Redeemer is on, changed that into a national forest. So when you're going up there, which is super narrow roads that are just wrapping around all the way up to the top of the mountain, you are surrounded by lush rainforest jungle. It's absolutely beautiful. And then for my dad, because my dad loves to go to foreign countries and see churches and cathedrals. That's my dad's thing. So for my dad, we went to go see the ugliest cathedral I have ever seen. At least on the outside. The absolute ugliest cathedral I've ever seen. And it's entirely concrete. It's really ugly. The inside is beautiful, and there are 4 gorgeous stained glass windows that each have a story. So definitely if you go inside. Don't just look at it from the outside. You'll be super disappointed. And of course, I can't talk about Brazil highlights without talking about the beaches. There are beaches, like I said, everywhere. There's Copacabana Beach and Ipanema Beach and Flamingo Beach and just like so many incredibly breathtaking beaches. We spent a couple of days swimming, getting incredibly sunburnt. They have lots of little huts that you can have drinks or snacks or hamburgers or whatever you want on the beach. Was definitely my favorite part was the beaches. One of the things we enjoyed since we were there for Carnival was all of the street parties. Like every night during Carnival is a street party in a different neighborhood. You just have to figure out which neighborhood to go to. And the only way I can describe it is, you know how at Halloween they have the Halloween costumes, and then they have like the slutty version of the costume. So you could be a nurse, or you could be like a slutty nurse. Every single person for these street parties are dressed up as the slutty version of something, including the guys. We saw like slutty Tinkerbell and slutty Minnie Mouse. I mean, just there's so many slutty bunnies.
Where are we going?
Carnival! The food while we were there, I'm sure you've heard of Brazilian steakhouses. Did a couple Brazilian steakhouses, which of course is you pay just an entry fee to go in. There's these massive buffets that have incredible, like delicious things like sushi and salads. And we went to one that had oysters and just so many things that you can just help yourself to. And then there's my favorite people that walk around with these huge trays or like, you know, the rods of delicious meat. And they're like, excuse me, would you like some beef tenderloin? Yeah, I'll be having some of that. Would you like some? There was one guy at the seafood place. Would you like some oysters Rockefeller? Yeah, just leave the tray here. Just leave the tray here. It's fine. I ate so much at the buffets. One of my favorite things about Rio was actually where we stayed. And I know it sounds like a cop-out. We stayed at the Hilton. It was right on Copacabana Beach. I mean, look at our view from the room. We could just walk out in our swimsuits, swim all day, walk back in our swimsuits, take a shower, and get ready to go for dinner. So I loved the Hilton on Copacabana. This is not sponsored. Hilton, please sponsor me. But yeah, I would absolutely stay there again. They had this breakfast buffet, which had just trays of fresh, delicious fruit. There was like mango and papaya and guava and pineapple and just like, and they had just peeled all of this for you. And they had a juicer, and every day they had different things that you could put in your juicer. So I had like, you know, ginger and carrot and cucumber juices some mornings, and green apple and beet juices some mornings. Gotta get those vitamins in there somehow. The Hilton had a rooftop pool. Sometimes it was like really crowded because it was kind of small. But I mean, look at the view from the rooftop. When the beach got really crowded, usually we would head up to the rooftop because that meant everybody was out on the beach. It was a little less crowded when you needed a break from the beaches. Rio also has a lot of street markets, including the hippie fair, which is not something I'm calling it. That's what it's actually called. The hippie fair on Sundays, which is where local people sell artwork and souvenirs and clothing and knickknacks, and it's all mixed in there together, but it's really fun to go check out. Support some locals. Rio has a lot of gorgeous forts that you can pay like less than $1 in. I think it was $3 which is less than $1 to go into, and they're all up on the hills overlooking the entryways into the waterways into the beaches, so they're beautiful. We only climbed one. We could have climbed like 5, but I almost died climbing one. It had some phenomenal views up there. And we got to see a bunch of monkeys on the way up. Make sure if you're hanging out with monkeys that you're wearing that wrist strap around your phone, because those monkeys, they're gonna steal your phone. I also have a weird obsession with street graffiti, which I think is one of the reasons why I'm in love with Atlanta, which is my hometown, because we have amazing street graffiti. But so did Rio. Check out this awesome graffiti work. Love it. Love a good graffiti. Okay, since I talked about all these wonderful things about Brazil, I do have to bring a couple of downsides. Gotta keep it real. There are some places in Brazil, in Rio, that are a little not safe. They're called the favelas. There are these parts of town where a lot of really impoverished people are living in really dense populations. They have recently gotten even more violent. So it used to be that really crime only happened within the favelas. but they've been facing kind of a recession recently, and the crime is moving out of the favelas, so much so that the first day we were there, the military took over the police because they didn't think the police were doing enough of a job to control the crime. So we saw a lot of police while we were there, which makes me feel safe.
Some big guns.
Don't go exploring a favela. Used to be able to take tours there. I think you still can with some people, but I think that there's just so many other things you could do with your time rather than do that. And we almost got murdered once with a little girl trying to draw us into an area that we didn't want to go to, but all of the alarms in our head were going off that this was a bad idea, and so we were like, no thank you, and we turned and walked away, and she followed us for a while, and we were like, stop following us. Anyways, and then to end on a good note, let me show you some of our goofy moments, because we're a very goofy couple.
Our tour guide just told us that this island is called the Island because thousands of seagulls nest there, and those white stripes are when the rain washes down the poop.
Justin has been the announcer. What do you call it in sports? The announcers?
The announcer.
Oh, he's been the announcer for this kids soccer league that's happening on the beach. He's been like, oh, and yellow team is close to a score, and
We thought the bag was waterproof. Evidently, it's not. So I'm filming.
just enjoying a easy hike to the top of the fort.
It's not cloudy, it's
It
just
was?
humid. Littlefoot is going to be so happy because I found him a tree star.
True star for you, Littlefoot. He's gonna think you're feeding him. He's gonna bite you. Thank you so much for taking a look at my travels. If you have anything you want to say, please leave it in the comments down below. Feel free to subscribe or get in touch with me. I'd love to have some more information. Be my friend. Let's hang out. Let's be friends. Bye!